So for our next recipe, we are going to be making a lovely and fluffy and a yummy moist chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. Now this is the best recipe, and by best I mean literally the best. This has been my go-to recipe ever since I got into cake making, and it's just so fluffy and so moist and just so, it's gorgeous, and you'll see why when you start making it. But first, let's go through the ingredients and then we'll get started. So for one recipe, you would need 50 grams of cocoa powder, 300 grams of caster sugar, 175 grams of self-raising flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 100 grams of margarine, 3 eggs and some boiling water. So I am making 4 recipes. This is for my niece's birthday cake. So I've got 200 grams of cocoa powder. This is by Roundtrees, but you can use any cocoa powder you wish. I have got 12 eggs over here. I've got 700 grams of self-raising flour. I've got 1.200 grams of caster sugar, and I've got 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and I've got 400 grams of margarine. And I've got some water. Now the boiling water, it's not really measured, but you'll see the consistency you'll need for when you mix it in with the cocoa powder. I'll take you over to my mixer, and now we'll get started with mixing everything. So you first put this blade in, your cake blade, and you want to hook that in, and then pop your ball in. And then you want to add your boiling water. Now again, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't measured. So I'm just going to put some in, and I'm going to give it a quick mix until everything is combined. And you want it to be a paste. So I'm just going to give it a quick mix. I'm just going to turn the light on because I can't really see much. And you'll need some more in that. So you just open it up and put some more in until everything is fully combined. And then I'm going to put it on the second setting, just for it to work a little bit faster. And you can now see that it's a little bit of a paste. Not sure you can see that, now you can. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit more water in because I tend to like mine a little bit more runny, so it doesn't stick to the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some more water in. And then give it another quick mix. And I'll show you a better picture once I pick it up and bring it close to the camera. And then I'm just going to get my spatula and just scrape the bowl so to make sure nothing's stuck at the bottom. So you definitely want to give it a bit of a scrape before mixing it for the final time. And now that it's fully combined, I will give you a quick peek as to how it looks. So that's what you'll get. I'll show you with the spatula. So it's more or less smooth paste. And to this, I just add all the ingredients. In with the first batch, which is caster sugar, self-raising flour, baking powder and margarine, and that's not going to fit, so I'm going to have to take it down and empty it that way. slowly. Whoops. There we go. There we go. In with that. Then if you've got some left, just use your hands and chuck it in. And then in go the 12 eggs. And then again pick that up. Is it in from that side? Yes it is. And you want to mix this on the lower setting first. And then once it's all combined on the lower setting, you just want to put it up to your medium setting. And there we go. And now I will just scrape the bowl and just give it a final mix on the higher setting. And that's your cake batter ready. And you'll notice when you do it with the method that I've just shown, you won't get any cocoa powder stuck at the bottom. It'll be completely clean. I don't know if you can see that here, but there's no cocoa powder stuck to the bottom. That's on the side, and that'll just get mixed in as you go. But there's nothing at the bottom that you'll need to keep scraping. So now this is going to go in a 12-inch cake tin, and I'm going to be making 2 lots of them. So I would preheat your oven now to 160, and depending on the depth of your cake, it will take roughly 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And you want to keep it on 160 degrees. Be sure to keep an eye on it. And one great tip, I cannot emphasize this enough, do not open your oven. I've seen a lot of you ask questions about why your cake sank in the middle, and that's why it's happened. If you've opened it, once it's being cooked, it'll just sink in the middle, and then you'll be left with a really synced cake that'll be undercooked. So do not open your oven once your cake is in. So I've just lined my tin with some parchment paper at the bottom of the tin, and I've just poured my mixture in, and this is half of the mixture that I've done, and I will be baking this twice. The remaining mixture will go when I remove this cake from the tin, and I'm going to put this in at 160 degrees, and whatever you do, do not open the oven. So I'll be back shortly, and then I'll let you know how it looks once it's all made. And there we have our moist and fluffy, really spongy chocolate cake. Now these were 12-inch cakes. Hold on, let me just get rid of these crumbs. As you can tell, we're sort of eating the top crunchy bits already. And I wanted to show you guys the inside of both my cakes. These were baked for 1 hour and 15 minutes, both at 1 hour and 15 minutes on 160 degrees. And I made 4 recipes, and I divided them between 2 12-inch cake tins. And they're extremely fluffy and spongy. I will give you a close-up now. Again, it does depend on how deep your cakes are. Sometimes they may take longer. So I do not recommend cooking these on a high temperature. As I mentioned earlier, these were baked at 160 degrees for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I did not touch the temperature. I just left it there throughout the 1 hour and 15 minutes, and the result is in front of you. I will now go ahead and give you a close-up. These are the close-ups of the chocolate cake. This bit is slightly firmer, but that's okay because that's going to get leveled. But this is extremely spongy, and it's moist. It's not dried at all. And the same with this one, it's completely spongy and not dry at all. You can tell if it's a good sponge is when you press it in and it rises back up. And that's what tells you that it's really, really spongy and fluffy and springy, all at the same time. So this is the result of my chocolate cake recipe. You could not go wrong with this recipe at all. It's literally the best recipe. It's my go-to recipe. I've been using this recipe for at least 5-6 years, ever since I started making cakes, and the results are right in front of you. Do try this recipe. I cannot recommend this enough. You will get awesome results, and I assure you, you will not be disappointed with any of my recipes. And now it's time for recipe number 3.